Hi and welcome to my channel. Now today's video is about this Pioneer ES-2000 receiver. This isn't a standalone receiver, this would have come part as a package, like a little stereo system that Pioneer done back in about 1975. And I'm led to believe it was about $400 in the US and about £200, £250 thereabouts here in the UK. In that package you would have got the receiver, you would have got a turntable and you would have got a pair of speakers as well. So that would have set you right up. You would have had your receiver, you could have the radio on, you could plug something external into it, maybe a tape recorder or something like that. You had your vinyl, you had your turntable and your speakers. So you was up and running really. I'm going to leave a little link down below to a bloke that's actually got this complete setup in a video on YouTube, and it's quite a nice little video to go and watch just to see it in action really. I think he just plays a track or something on there. Doesn't talk about anything like that, but you just may want to go and see all the three items lined up together. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the front of it. There we go, we've got the on-off switch there, which is the on. For 2 speakers stereo, we've got a 4 speaker matrix this can do, kind of like a pretend surround sound. Back in the day then, in 1975, you would have had a kind of like a bit of a surround sound connecting up 4 speakers. We've got a bass, treble, balance, volume, loudness, tape monitor, and we've got the functions there, which is the AM radio, the FM radio, and we go to phono and auxiliary, and the mic there at the end, and we've got a little volume control for the microphone so we can turn it up and down and sing along maybe with one of your favourite records on the old turntable. We've got a tuning dial as well there at the front. We'll have a little look around the back. As you can see around the back we've got our inputs there, which are the auxiliary, phono and our tape inputs. And we've got our speakers, which are kind of, I think they're just a bit smaller than the 4mm banana plug type sockets these are, so you're going to have to get the right plug for these to put the speakers in. They come, but this particular model come with 4 plugs, 2 for each channel, so I'll get 2, one set of speakers, 2 speakers connected to it. If one of them connects up another 2, I'll be poking wires in there or trying to get hold of a connector or making one up or something like that. So that's a little look at the unit. We're going to have a look inside another day. I won't fit it in this video, but another day we're going to have a look inside, because one of the channels on here has got a slight bit of this. Hopefully we're going to sort that out and I'll bring that up in another video. Onto the sound. Now this is quite a punchy sound to this amplifier. It's only rated at 18 watts a channel, but it's got quite a lively, punchy sound to this amplifier. It's quite dynamic as well. It's got quite a bit of dynamics to it for what it is. It's quite dynamic, it's quite engaging. It's quite a nice sounding amplifier. This is not a sweet sounding amplifier, and it's not really a warm sounding amplifier neither, like maybe like the Pioneer 440. I've got that little receiver. I think it's the SX440, is it something like that? It's not as warm as that. That's quite a warm sounding receiver. This is more like a lively kind of sound receiver. If we go on to the bass is quite nice. It's quite punchy, it's got quite a bit of kick to it, the bass. It's quite tight and it's quite detailed, it's quite defined, the bass. It's pretty good, the bass drum, the bass guitar, you can pick out the different strings and the different notes there. It's got quite a decent sound to it, the bass. It's quite impressive, it's quite engaging, the bass on this. It's quite nice. I paired this up with me Wolfdale Diamond Freeze, and they're a little bit, I still think they're a little bit maybe on the bass shy for me. They are just a tad. This kind of really helped me out. It's got quite a kick, quite a powerful little bass to this unit. And going over to something like the Celestian Freeze I tried with it, they was really engaging. There was like boom boom, I was getting right into it with them. You know what I mean? They're a bigger speaker, a bigger unit, and they've got that rear port as well compared to the Wolfdales. And it's got quite an oomph to it, them speakers. So that it sounded quite nice. And this makes any speaker like I connected up feel bigger than what it actually is. I mean, like them little Wolfdales, tiny little speaker, this made them sound quite big, be quite surprised. I've got a little speaker there, but it's sounding a lot bigger than what it actually is. So this is giving quite a punchy, quite a nice, quite a kick to it, this kind of sound coming out of this unit. The mids were quite nice. They're quite, there's reasonably defined. They had quite a nice tone to them. The sax, the trumpet and the piano sounded quite nice. Like I say, it had quite a bit of dynamics to it as well. So all sounded good really. The vocals sounded good as well. Now the top end of this it's a little top, it's a little bit pushed up the top end here. It's a bit bright, this amplifier, but it didn't really affect the vocals that much. The female vocal sibilance and that. When that kind of happens, sometimes you're kind of raising the sibilance and that, and it can get annoying and that. Where this didn't really do that at all, but it has got a bright top end, and to the fact that I was actually turning this down. Probably down, this is marked up 1 to 5, I think, something like that on the treble. If we go minus, I was knocking it down to number 2. It was that bright, I mean, it's just a bit too bright at the top end of this amplifier. But like I say, that even so, it didn't really affect the sibilance or anything like that. But it could just, if you didn't adjust his tone control down a little bit, and this was with the Wolfdales and a couple of other speakers I tried as well, weren't so much with the Celestion 3s because they were a bit rolled off at the top end. So if you've got a pair of speakers that are a bit rolled off, this is going to be okay. This is going to be pretty good for them. But if you've got a pair of speakers that may be just a bit on the bright side, this is going to tip them over the edge and make them too bright. That's for certain. So yeah, I turned it down too, and it sounded quite nice. You know what I mean? Altogether, like I say, it's not really a sweet sounding amplifier. It's more of a lively sounding amplifier. It's not as sweet as maybe the Sansui 331441 I've got there. Now, it's nowhere near as sweet as them, but it's just like I say, a lively amplifier. It's quite a nice sound. It's pleasant to listen to, as long as we tamed that top end a little bit. I think that's about it really. The soundstage, was pretty good. It went beyond the speakers, the soundstage. The instrument definition was quite nice. It was quite good. You know what I mean? In between each instrument was quite defined there. The soundstage had plenty of depth and plenty of width to it as well. It wasn't as airy as the 331, the 441, but it had quite a bit of airiness to it, and it was quite nice. It was quite pleasant to listen to. As long as you've got the right speakers, I think, like I say, if they're anything a bit too bright, and then Wolfdales, I'll just recap them, and then they're just on borderline of getting a bit too bright. With this, really pushed them over the edge. Like I say, I had to turn that down to -2, 2 notches down for them Wolfdales, and a few other pair of speakers I did try, if they're just tinkering towards, maybe neutral to bright kind of sounding speakers. It's just, this amplifier is on a little bit on the bright side. But going back to something that's got a bit of curved at the top, like I say, them Celestion 3s, it sitted quite well with them speakers. I wasn't coming back and turning this knob down. I kind of kept it level, and it sounded quite nice. The FM, just talk about the FM tuner. The FM tuner is quite strong on this amplifier. It was picking up radio stations, but I don't normally get without any aerial at all. A little piece of wire, and it's all coming in stereo and that, even obviously with a bit of background noise still. Get one of them plastic dipole things, you're going to be fine. It's going to put in the stations quite nice and get rid of that S kind of thing. And going to the Phono stage here, played quite a few records here with a couple of decks I've got and whatever. And the Phono stage sounded really, really nice, and it was quite a nice sounding, and it actually made it a little bit on the sweeter side as well, a little bit more of a sweeter sounding Phono stage rather than that live. And instead of that liveness to us, but just sweetened it up a little bit, and it sounded quite nice, the Phono stage in here. And also going to this, I obviously tried it with CDs, etc., and I had to plug in my attenuator lead, which I do with all my reviews anyway, but now and again I take it out and just listen to it without. And this is one that you must, well I had to with the free CD players I had, put that attenuator lead, because all my free CD players was overloading this, and it sounded pretty rough, if you know what I mean. Without that lead, it did sound far too forward, and it sounded even brighter than what it was. And it just, the bass was kind of messed up as well, so it doesn't sound that great. It was giving you someone right in the room. The person, the singer, the vocalist was right in the room with you, right in the room, just pushed so forward that everything else, it just made it a mess really. And it was getting like, it'd do your ears in after a while kind of thing. So that lead is definitely recommended, I would have said, for this particular receiver, if you're plugging a CD player in via the auxiliary input of this amplifier. This is my little receiver here. I mean, it may be slightly different from yours, the specs may be slightly different. These are old now, 50 years old, so some of the specs have kind of wandered off a little bit probably. But just bear that in mind. If you get this and plug a CD player or any receiver amplifier comes to that, and it sounds a bit harsh, a bit too forward, or it doesn't sound quite right, it maybe is a time maybe just to think about getting yourself a little attenuator lead, or making one up and just trying it again before you actually get rid of the unit and think, oh, that was a load of rubbish. It may not have been too bad. You may have just been overloading it. Maybe just try a Phono, use the Phono socket to maybe plug in a turntable or something like that, rather than just your CD. Give that a go as well, and even go back to the radio, because like I say, that CD player was sounding bad. As soon as I went back to the radio, it sounded okay. And obviously when I plugged in the record player, which kind of made me aware of this, tripped me up and made me aware that I've got the wrong lead in for the CD player. Because as soon as I put a vinyl on, I thought, this sounds quite nice. You know what I mean? What's gone wrong kind of thing. And then I realised that I had the wrong lead. Okay, so all in all, it's not a bad little unit at all. You know what I mean? I definitely recommend it, but I think I just want to emphasise it. Maybe just a little bit bright for some speakers, so just be wary of that. Okay, that's it. Just another very quick review, hopefully, of this little Pioneer and that little system. Don't forget to go and have a little look at that bloke if you want to see all three of them set up together. It looks quite nice as it happens. Until the next video, I'll say thanks for watching and I'll see you all soon.